Hi guys, welcome back to Casually Crafted. My name is Ashley and this is Crafty Chat number 14, I believe. So I have a little bit of random Christmassy stuff to show you, and then at the end I'm going to show you a whole lot more pumpkins like we talked about last time. So I'm going to start with works in progress, in no particular order, just kind of how I piled things up over here. So first I started making some Christmas presents for people. And so this first one is a pair of like slipper socks. And this is a pattern by Fiberflex, and it's basically just straight double crochets all the way up. So I've done 1.5-ish, I guess. This is using Premier Sweet Roll, and there's just one of them, and I'm kind of color controlling it to get them to kind of match. I haven't measured how, she said to go about 16 inches. I haven't measured how tall this is, but I do keep kind of trying it on. It's for my friend who has about the same size foot as me. And I think I actually want to add some ribbing at the top here to kind of help it stay up, and I'm going to use this color for that part. So those are almost done. And then my second Christmas present, this was actually a work in progress that I forgot to show on my last video, but now it's more close to done, I guess. So my grandma, she collects nativity scenes, and she actually leaves some like out as for decorations all year round. So I always try to make her some sort of nativity scene. So this is a single crochet graph, and I don't love it, but it's probably gonna have to do. The pattern was one I found on Etsy for a tree skirt, and it was one that they make like the triangle panels, and this was just one of the designs, and then the rest have like the wise men and the shepherds all the way around. I just wanted the pattern for just the basic nativity part, and so I did pay for that, and I'll put the link for that below in the description box below. And I had to do some adjusting as far as because they decrease. They start at the bottom and they go kind of triangular shaped and decrease. I obviously wanted it to be rectangle, straight edges. My problem at this point is it is longer this way than it is this way, and I wanted it to be kind of like a wall hanging, and so my plan was to attach like a dowel to the top and let it hang down, but I wanted it taller than it is wide. So I did add a bunch to the top, but I feel like if I keep going that'll just kind of look weird, so I'm trying to decide if I should reattach this blue down to the bottom and add a few more rows to get it more either just straight square or taller this way. And then I thought about going around with white or gold or something to kind of even up the edges. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to look or if I'm just really bad at the color changes. I'm not really sure. But that one took me like the whole month of September to work on. Some of these rows with the different changing colors back and forth between blue and white, I had like 13 balls of yarn going, so it was kind of a mess. But I am glad I got it done that far. I just kind of figure out how I want to finish it off. And the ends curl a little bit, so I either need to block it, or I thought about sewing it to like a piece of fabric or something, and then have the fabric be what hangs, what's on the towel, if that makes sense. So if anybody has any suggestions on how to finish that up and make it look nicer, please let me know. Alright, my next work in progress is also Christmas related, but this one is a tree skirt, and I am kind of making up this pattern, but I'm also kind of not. So last Christmas I made a blanket for somebody using a pattern called the Chunky Sampler Blanket, and I don't remember who that was by Mama in a Stitch. So she has a blog, and so it was like thick chunky yarn. I think they used Lion brand Woolies Thick and Quick. I used like a Michael's version of it, and I really like the different stitches. There's like the bean stitch and the moss stitch, and there's bobbles. And at the time I was trying to come up with a way to make a tree skirt, and I couldn't find a pattern that I liked. And so I came up with this idea to use her blanket pattern and turn it into a tree skirt pattern. So I have no idea what I'm doing. Each row I'm kind of making it up as I go, trying to figure out how much I need to increase or not increase to keep it flat. I wanted a circle round tree skirt, so no like points or no triangle panels or anything. So I'll show you what I have so far. This is only to like round maybe 9 or 10 of the blanket pattern. So this is folded in half. You can see like the bean stitches here, some like half double crochets in the back loops give it these bumps. I think I'm showing you the wrong side. Hang on. Oh, there we go. There we go. There's some like textured ridges here. One of these rows, I think right here, was supposed to be a bobble row, but the bobbles weren't showing up, and it took, obviously bobbles are yarn eaters, and so I just did double crochets for that. The yarn I am using, hold on, is Premier Serenity Chunky. Right, yep. And this is the color Pristine. Now this is a bulky 5, and her pattern calls for like a 6. So I'm also holding it together with, sorry, some of this, which I do have a ball band for somewhere in here. There we go. I found like a whole bag of these at like a flea market type place, and not really knowing what it was, but it was $2 for a whole big bag of it. And so this is what it is. You can't, like, the sticker is kind of in the way. Satchenmeyer Bossa Nova, something like that, and it is 80% wool, 10% alpaca, and 10% silk. So I'm holding that together with the Premier Chunky, which is, I'm pretty sure, just 100% acrylic. Yeah. So last year at Joann's, I bought 5 of these on clearance. So this has been sitting in a bag for a year, basically, waiting for me to get started on it. And I was a little worried about running out of the 5 balls of that, so I just bought like a big ball that's like the equivalent of like 3 regular balls from Hirschner's. So that's in there too. So it's not huge at the moment, but I was excited to get started on it. So this has just kind of been hanging out in my bedroom. When I feel like working on it, I will. The wonky parts are the edges. You can see that I didn't like increase necessarily evenly. Some rows I went a little far, but I figure that'll be on the back, and I'll button it or put ribbon on it or something in the back, and hopefully nobody will notice. Alright, so there's that. I think that's all my works in progress. Um, so next I have some finished objects, mostly pumpkins, but one other big project that I've been working on for a while, which is my campfire cardigan. So I'm going to actually put it on real quick. So hold on. Alright, so I'm calling this finished even though I still have all my ends to weave in, and I just realized that I still haven't done the border around the ends of the sleeves. So I still need to do that, but we're going to still call it finished. So this is the campfire cardigan by Make and Do Crew blog, and I'm using a Caron Big Cake, and that is the color Cookie Crumble. So for my birthday, like in February, I bought 4 of these, planning to make this sweater, not knowing how much I would need. I used basically 2 full ones, and then this is the 3rd one that I broke into. But I could have maybe finished it with just the 2. It's a big mess, but this is what's left of the 2nd one, and it was all white, and I didn't want the border around the edge and the bottom to be white. I wanted it to be black. So the very outside of this 3rd cake was black, and then that wasn't quite enough, so I took some of the middle out that I just dropped on the floor and used the next layer of black right there. There's still a little bit of black there. So I probably could have gotten away with just doing 2 full cakes if I didn't want to do any color controlling, which for the most part I didn't. It was just the border that I wanted all black instead of white. I felt like white wasn't gonna quite cut it. So I'll back up on the stairs a little bit and show you how it turned out. Sorry for my big belly. So there it is. There's the sleeves. Last time I talked about the sleeves, I still am not thrilled about how fast this decreases, but I'm living with it. Like I said, I'm going to do some sort of border here, probably just straight double crochets. Because I was thinking that this border part, like her pattern included a border for this, so I didn't go as far. And then reading the pattern again, I realized that I didn't, so I either needed to just continue with the granny stitch pattern, or I need to do my own thing at the bottom there. So the hat, let's see. I was struggling with the hat a little bit because I probably won't ever actually wear the hat, you never know. But this was extremely pointy right here with the way you do it. You make it like kind of like a rectangle, and then you just seam up the center of the rectangle, and that was just way pointy. And so I pulled back a few rows and just kind of decreased in the middle of the rectangle. Oh, now I'm staticky. To kind of round that off a little bit. It's still a little weird, but it's better than it was. So that is that. So I think next is just all of my pumpkins. I think I made 8. I was actually going to do this video on Saturday. I had the house to myself for a little bit. The kids were playing at a friend's house, and I was like, yes, I'm going to do a video in the middle of the day instead of 10 o'clock at night. And I got everything down here and ready to go, and then the kids barged in with their friends, and yeah. So Saturday I made a pumpkin, and today I made a pumpkin, so that's 2 more. So my daughter has been playing with them, and she put them in my bag that's still not finished. So I just left them in there to pull them all out. And I'm calling these finished also, even though they don't have stems yet. I'm still deciding if I want to do like sticks or crochet or roll up some felt or something for that. Let's see. So the ones I made the last 2 days are these 2 here. And I did not mean to make them basically the same size. I made them to go together because this one, some sort of cotton, has green in it, and then this one's obviously green. I had this in my stash, and this is from the garage sale from a few weeks ago. So these two were both stitch patterns that Daisy Farm Crafts she's been doing like little video clips on her Instagram on just different stitches. And so this one is like a half double crochet back loop slip stitch, something or other like that. So it's basically a slip stitch in the back loop, but you yarn over first instead of just regular slip stitch. So made a rectangle of that. Well, and then this one is half double crochet in the front two loops, so it makes little ridges, not quite as big ridges. So there's those two, my most recent ones, and now I'm just gonna grab from the bag and see what happens. Okay, this one is the aspen stitch, so I'll link the tutorial that I followed for that. And all of these, again, are made with basically just a rectangle, and then you seam up the side, cinch up the bottom, stuff it, and then cinch up the top. This one, no idea. This was a mystery yarn from my stash. I don't even know if it's yarn, really. It's really scratchy, almost like twine. It was from a garage sale years ago, and it's really short because I ran out of yarn. So I would have probably made it a little taller, but that's as far as the little cake of yarn went that I had. So there's that one. Let's see. All right, this one is an interesting one. This is one of those yarns from the garage sale a few weeks ago. It's like a red heart, but it's kind of like homespun, but like a lot more fluffy. It definitely reminds me of the 70s. Sorry, I've got strings hanging down that I didn't weave in. So it's kind of hard to tell it's a pumpkin. Maybe if I put a stick on there. That's a little better. I don't know. But this one I just did double crochets in the back loop only because it's so fuzzy you can't really tell that I even did that. So I wasn't going to do some really detailed pattern that you couldn't really even see. I'm running out of space to set things. All right, next one. Okay, this one was fun. A little bitty one. This is a stitch pattern called like post and shells, shells and posts, something like that. I was a little worried about this one because you can kind of see the stuffing in the inside, but I still think it's kind of cute. I liked the idea of the ridges, making it look more like a real pumpkin. So there's that. I also have no idea what yarn this was. It was from the same garage sale as this one a few years ago. But it's more, it's kind of a weird yarn where it's almost like lots of little strands held together. So it splits a lot and it's kind of hard to work with. Okay, let's see. Okay, this one I made, and I also didn't make it this shape exactly I wanted because I ran out of yarn for this one. This is another cotton something or other that I had in my stash. And this was, I'll link the pattern for this. It was from some sort of like Afghan stitch sampler square from like 5 years ago probably. I just found the pattern on Pinterest and I liked the way the waves looked. For this one, so for all of these I've been doing like the ridges with the, you know, you add the extra string and pull it tight to make like ridges around. I kind of did that with this one, but I actually weaved the yarn into the line so it wouldn't just be like a straight thing showing. Um, so I kind of like this, how this one turned out. He looks kind of like a little sweater, but still not quite the shape I was going for. But that is okay. It almost looks like a roll of toilet paper at some angles, but it's okay. Alright. Okay, this one is teeny tiny. And it was following an actual pattern for a pumpkin, but then I added the ridges. They didn't have the ridges. And I was using a smaller hook, but I think I still followed the same stitch counts and everything. But it's another teeny tiny one. And this is from that garage sale a few weeks ago also. So I don't know what kind of yarn it was. That stem would be way too big for that. But there you go. And I think this might be my last one in here. Okay, last one. This one also has a pattern for how to make a pumpkin. And once again, I added the ridges even though they didn't. So this one is, I think it's the lemon peel stitch. I'm not sure. They don't actually say what it's called, but it's the one where you do single crochet in one and then double crochet in the next and back and forth. And it's two different types of yarn. So one is the bright orange, and then the next row was like a variegated white and orange and yellowy. Then you go back and forth. So hers are really cool looking. Mine, I don't know if I should have just picked different colors that weren't, because like right here it's a lot of the same orangish color. But nice and bright, and it's still kind of fun. So there's with the stem. Alright, I think those are all my pumpkins, and unfortunately I'm probably not done. My plan was to make like sets of 3. So I have 3 friends that I want to give these to as like a thank you gift, because I'll be too busy at Christmas time to give Christmas gifts. So I wanted to make like sets of 3 that kind of go together, but the ones that I've made, I don't feel like I have enough that actually all go together. So like I'll put these 2 together for sure, but they need like a third one. Yeah, so I'm not sure what the plan is. So I'm gonna, my plan is to go through the rest of my yarn that I have already pulled out to make these, and kind of see where I'm at as far as which ones can go together, as far as colors and matching and stuff, and then decide, like actually be more intentional about the colors and the patterns that I pick to finish off the collections. Because like I said, I've mostly just been like, oh, I like this yarn, oh, I like this pattern, let's put it together and make something, and not really thinking about how that can go with the other pumpkins I've already made. So I might end up with a bunch of these just hanging around my house. So we'll have to see how that goes. Alright, I think that is everything. Thank you guys for watching. I will talk to you guys later. Bye guys.